the Hollywood Unapologetic Podcast with Orlando Delbert, Filmmaking Essentials.
Today, we're into the future of filmmaking. And filmmaking, traditionally, well, it's been a world of massive budgets, incredibly complex productions.
That's right. And the sources you've shared really highlight how that landscape is facing a, fundamental shift. We're talking about artificial intelligence.
AI, it's moving into filmmaking incredibly fast, and it's definitely sparking reactions. Everything from real excitement about new possibilities
to, frankly, deep concern about the industry's future, about jobs.
Absolutely. We're navigating that tension. We're drawing insights from sources like Reason Magazine, research from places like Georgia State.
Perspectives from industry groups, the Producers Guild, for instance, and importantly, from platforms actually teaching people these AI tools. Curious Refuge, Switcher Studio.
We also looked at views from tech companies involved, like Smithos and All Rights, and really valuable, I thought, insights from online discussions among actual filmmakers on Reddit.
Right. And our mission with all this is to explore the opportunities, yes, but also the challenges AI brings, focusing specifically on what this means for you if you're maybe a new independent creator trying to figure this all out today.
And it seems to boil down to a central question running through everything. Why is learning to work with these AI tools right now so critical, especially as part of this democratization of filmmaking that seems to be happening?
So yeah, let's unpack that core tension straight away. It's right there in the sources.
Yeah.
Is AI mainly a tool to boost human creativity, or is it fundamentally a threat that could wipe out jobs?
That tension is really strong. On one hand, you have genuine fear about job displacement. That warning from Dario Amade about entry-level jobs potentially getting hit hard, that definitely stands out.
It's a stark point, especially for people starting out. And those online discussions on Reddit, they echo this concern, pointing directly at areas like commercial production.
Which, as the sources note, is often the testing ground, maybe the bread and butter for a lot of filmmakers and technicians building their careers.
Exactly. And they're highlighting that companies might increasingly choose, good enough results from AI simply because it's drastically cheaper than hiring a traditional large crew.
Right. You mentioned an example. A commercial spot costing, say, 80 to 120,000 euros with a crew.
Could potentially be done for 10,000 or even less using AI tools, with clients maybe not even seeing a huge difference in the final product for their needs. Those traditional crew jobs, they feel genuinely threatened.
But it's interesting. The sources don't just focus on that threat. There's another strong perspective, too.
Yes, exactly. Many sources really emphasize the idea of human-AI collaboration. The thinking isn't necessarily that AI replaces the human across the board,
but that it amplifies human capabilities, extends what one person or a small team can actually do.
Precisely. So AI might excel at generating tons of options or handling those really repetitive, tedious tasks that eat up time and budget.
Okay, I see. But the crucial part, the uniquely human part that stays.
According to these sources, yes. Things like judgment, artistic intent, curation, making those key creative choices that remains essential.
There was that interesting reference to Noam Chomsky about AI lacking the ingredients of explanation.
That's the one. It suggests AI doesn't have true understanding, the why, behind the what. One filmmaker called AI a craftsman, a very skilled one perhaps, but still a craftsman.
Meaning it generates output, but without human purpose.
Or the discerning eye needed to shape that output into something meaningful, something artistic. The human skill becomes knowing what to ask for, what to select, how to refine it, how to apply that artistic intent to the AI's output.
Okay, so acknowledging that core tension, the job fears versus these powerful new tools, let's look at where AI is actually being applied right now. According to the sources, where is it showing up in the filmmaking workflow?
Well, it's starting to weave its way into pretty much every stage, really transforming how things get done.
Starting right at the beginning, in pre-production.
Absolutely. We're seeing tools helping with content strategy, research, brainstorming ideas, even drafting initial video outlines or talking points using platforms like ChatGPT or Jasper.
Though the sources add a note of caution there, right? These are starting points.
A crucial note, yes. Treat them as a launch pad, not the finished script. And always be aware of potential inaccuracies or even plagiarism issues. You have to check the output critically.
Right, a tool to get you started, not to do the whole job. What about visualizing those ideas, storyboards?
AI's moving into that space too. Tools like Boards or Storyboard Hero can generate storyboards directly from text prompts now that can really speed up the visualization process.
Okay, and then moving into actual production. Is AI, holding the camera yet?
Not quite operating cameras in the traditional sense, no. But AI is enabling visual creation directly from text or scripts. Think tools like Pika or Runway. They can generate short video clips from prompts.
Or Pictory, creating video directly from a script.
Exactly. So it's generating moving images based on text input.
And what about integrating AI during a live action shoot? Any tools there?
Yes, practical applications are definitely emerging. You've got digital avatars from companies like Synthesia or Hagen being used for certain types of content, maybe corporate videos, explainers.
Okay. And for working with human actors on set?
Well, there are things like AI-powered smart teleprompters, SpeakFlow is mentioned, that actually follow the speaker's voice, adjusting the scroll speed automatically.
That sounds genuinely useful, actually.
And things like virtual webcam features, maybe in NVIDIA Broadcast or Camo. They use AI to adjust framing on the fly, remove backgrounds, or enhance the image quality live during a shoot. Huge implications for interviews or remote production setups.
It really does sound like AI is touching almost every part of the process already.
It is, but maybe the most dramatic impact right now, based on the sources, is in post-production. This is where AI is really tackling tasks that used to be incredibly time-consuming and very expensive.
Automating things that took days or even weeks before.
Precisely. Think about tedious visual effects work, like de-aging actors. Metaphysics AI was mentioned. Or automating tasks like rotoscoping, which is separating foreground elements from backgrounds frame by frame. That's notoriously painstaking.
And those generative fill features, like in Adobe Premiere, adjusting aspect ratios, adding or removing things from the shot easily.
Those are total game changers for editing flexibility. And then you have tools like Topaz using AI to enhance video quality, stabilizing shaky footage, upscaling resolution, maybe even correcting eye contact after the fact.
Wow, and I imagine audio post-production, which is often so complex.
AI is transforming that too. Speech-to-text editors like Descript are a huge example. They let you edit audio just by editing the text transcript. You can cut filler words, rearrange sentences incredibly quickly.
That must save an enormous amount of time for anything with dialogue.
Huge. And then for voiceovers, dubbing, localization, you've got tools like 11 Labs for voice cloning and translation, Deep Dub for AI-powered localization services, even generating accurate captions automatically with tools like Simplified or CapCut is becoming standard.
So all this functionality, previously needing specialists, significant time, big budgets,
is becoming automated or at least dramatically simplified. And that directly tackles some of the most expensive, labor-intensive parts of making films or videos.
which leads us right into the economic shift. This is the big one, isn't it? The potential disruption.
This is maybe, as some sources hint, the AI future nobody wants to talk about in the established industry because the implications really are massive. Traditional filmmaking costs, they're astronomical. Blockbusters run hundreds of millions.
You pulled that She-Hulk example, episodes hitting $25 million, largely driven by VFX costs. That really highlights where the money goes.
Exactly. And AI offers a pretty clear path to automating large chunks of that very expensive, very labor-intensive CGI and visual effects work.
But the flip side of cutting those costs isn't just negative. It's not just about job losses.
No, definitely not. While it's understandably causing anxiety for people in those existing roles, this massive cost reduction fundamentally changes the economics of creating visual content. It creates what the sources consistently call a significant lowering of the barrier to entry.
This is the democratization of filmmaking idea we mentioned earlier.
That's exactly it. The sources paint a picture of the potential rise of the creator, maybe an individual, maybe a very small team, leveraging these AI tools to do tasks that historically needed huge crews, huge infrastructure.
So potentially writing, editing, visual effects, sound design, all handled by one person or a tiny team with AI assisting.
That's the potential future being discussed. Instead of needing a major studio's backing or finding massive investment, you could theoretically produce high-quality visual stories much more independently.
Which really empowers people outside the traditional Hollywood system, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Smaller productions, nimbler teams, people without the established industry connections or access to traditional funding, they suddenly have tools that make quality filmmaking less prohibitively expensive, less logistically nightmarish. It genuinely offers outsiders a chance to compete in ways that were, frankly, impossible before.
It probably helps to put this moment in context. Looking back at Hollywood history, the industry's faced big tech shifts before.
That's a really crucial perspective offered in the sources, yeah. Think about the arrival of sound or color. Or much later, CGI and digital cameras.
Every single one caused upheaval, resistance.
Huge resistance. But ultimately, they became integrated tools. They became part of the filmmaker's toolkit. They changed how movies were made, certainly, but they didn't kill filmmaking. They evolved it.
And there's an interesting parallel drawn to the independent film boom back in the 1990s. People like Soderbergh, Tarantino breaking through.
Yeah.
What fueled that?
Well, a key factor was more accessible technology. Cheaper cameras, nonlinear editing becoming more available, and crucially, consumer video formats like VHS. They made films easier to study and distribute independently. Tarantino famously learned film history working in a video store.
Right, the rise of blockbuster video stores playing a role in that indie revolution. Kind of ironic now.
Very ironic. And the sources suggest that AI, combined with today's easily accessible online distribution platforms like YouTube, Vimeo, etc., that combination could be the disruptive force driving the next era of filmmaking, much like indie film did in the 90s.
It reminds me of that Colin Matthews joke you mentioned about screenwriters being asked for more and more until finally the demand is just make the show yourself.
Right. It was meant as this absurd, hyperbolic endpoint. But the sources are pointing out that AI tools might actually turn that joke into a literal possibility for you, the filmmaker.
The potential seems real for individuals, maybe just starting, maybe sitting with just a laptop, to create something polished, compelling, something competitive in ways that were just completely out of reach even a few years ago. Which brings us directly to the path forward. If you're an aspiring creator, an independent filmmaker, what's the clearest message coming out of all these sources?
The message is incredibly consistent, actually. It's don't try to compete against AI. Learn how to work with it. And start now.
So embracing it as a powerful tool, integrating it into your creative process, not seeing it purely as a replacement for human creativity.
Exactly. And resources, communities focused on this, they're already popping up fast. Curious Refuge, for instance, actively brands itself as a hub for AI filmmakers, offering courses, community. You see events like Machine Cinema, gatherings by Digital Hollywood exploring these very applications.
So the time to start learning these skills isn't some distant future point.
No, it's clearly now. Learning how to leverage these tools effectively, understanding what they can do well, understanding their limitations too, that's framed as an absolutely essential skill for navigating this changing landscape. It's really comparable to how past generations had to learn sound or learn color or learn digital cinematography to tell their stories effectively.
It's adaptation, just like the industry has always had to do, really.
The tools are here, they're getting more powerful, more accessible all the time, and they are driving this democratization, this lowering of the barrier.
So pulling everything together, what's the main takeaway for our listeners?
I think it's that AI in filmmaking isn't just some future possibility or threat, it's a current reality. It's acting as a powerful, cost-cutting tool that's creating unprecedented access and opportunity, especially, really especially, for independent creators and outsiders.
Opening doors that were historically pretty firmly shut for a lot of potential storytellers.
Right. And while we have to acknowledge the very significant, very legitimate concerns about job security in the traditional structures, for the new generation of filmmakers, for you perhaps, the opportunities AI presents seem too significant to just ignore.
So for you, the creator listening in, the clear direction from all these different perspectives is that your future in filmmaking likely involves mastering these tools.
Learning how to collaborate effectively with AI, understanding its strengths, its weaknesses, using it strategically, that seems to be the essential skill set for success in this emerging landscape. Just as filmmakers have always learned to use new technology to push their craft forward.
Which leaves us with a final thought, something for you to consider, building on this idea of AI achieving technical perfection.
Yeah, as AI gets better and better at generating technically flawless visuals, perfect sound, does the true, lasting, the irreplaceable value of filmmaking shift even more fundamentally? Does it concentrate even more on the uniquely human elements?
Things like your specific individual perspective, your emotional insight, the distinct intention, that deeply personal why behind the story you choose to tell, and exactly how you choose to shape it.
You can find more insights on navigating the entertainment industry and achieving success in Orlando Delbert's work, including his book, Pollyanna's Tear-Soaked Battlefields of Hollywood, a survival guide against the cynicism and the hypocritical, and of course, the Hollywood Unapologetic platform. And always remember, you are the key to your own success. You are the new Hollywood generation.
Be informed, be prepared, and most importantly, be great.
That's it. Be great. Good luck out there.
See you next time.